You're sitting in a perfectly safe room right now. No predators, no enemies, no threat of any kind. And yet, somewhere in the back of your mind, something is watching, something is scanning, something refuses to believe that you are actually safe. And the reason for that goes back much further than you think. Your brain is not a modern machine, it's an ancient one. It was not built for the world you're living in right now. It was built for a world that wanted to kill you. Picture your ancestors 2 million years ago, not farming, not building, just trying to survive on an open savanna where nearly everything that moved was either food or a predator. The grass was tall, the night was total darkness, and the cost of being wrong, even once, was death. Not inconvenience, death. That pressure shaped your brain in ways that you are still carrying with you today. Neuroscientist Joseph Ledoux spent decades mapping what he called the fear circuit. He discovered that the human brain has a structure called the amygdala, two small almond shaped clusters buried deep in your temporal lobes. And this structure does something remarkable. It processes threat before your conscious mind even knows there is something to be afraid of, just like Spider Man. Your amygdala fires before your eyes have finished sending the signal to your visual cortex. Before you have formed a thought, your body is already reacting. This is why you flinch before you think, why your heart pounds before you understand why. Your ancient brain does not wait for permission. Ludox called this the low road, the fast, automatic, unconscious pathway that bypasses rational thought entirely and sends your body into a state of alarm. And the reason it exists is simple. In the ancient world, the cost of a false alarm was nothing. You ran from a shadow that turned out to be a branch. You wasted a few seconds. No harm done. But the cost of missing a real threat was everything. So your brain evolved to be trigger happy, to see even danger everywhere, to assume the worst, of course. Because the ancestors who assumed the worst survived long enough to become your ancestors. That is not a metaphor, that is biology. This principle has a name. Psychologist Daniel Kahneman, who won the Nobel Prize in economics for his work on human cognition, called it System 1 thinking. Fast, automatic, emotional, your brain's default mode, running beneath everything you do, constantly scanning, constantly categorizing, constantly deciding what is safe and what is not, long before your conscious mind gets involved. System 2, on the other hand, the slow, deliberate, rational part of your brain, is actually the newcomer, the expensive luxury that evolution only added recently, and it was always playing catch up. Here's what this means for you right now. When your phone buzzes and you feel a spike of anxiety before you have even looked at the screen, that is your amygdala firing. When you walk into a room full of strangers and your chest tightens without any logical reason, that is the low road activating. When you wake up at 3 in the morning with a vague sense of that something is wrong, but nothing is wrong, that is your ancient brain doing exactly what it was designed to do, keeping watch, refusing to relax, staying alert in a world that your rational mind knows is safe, but your amygdala refuses to believe. You are living inside a threat detection machine that was calibrated for a world that no longer exists. And it goes even deeper than anxiety. Researcher Martin Slingman one of the founders of positive psychology, conducted a series of experiments in the 1970s that revealed something now called preparedness theory. He found that humans are not equally afraid of everything. We are dramatically easier to frighten with certain things: snakes, spiders, heights, darkness, the faces of angry strangers. These fears form almost instantly after just one bad experience, and they are nearly impossible to extinguish. But try to make someone afraid of a flower or an electrical outlet, things that are far more likely to actually kill a modern human. And it takes many more repetitions, and the fear fades much more easily. Your brain has a preloaded list of threats, and that list was written long before you were born. Snakes and spiders killed your ancestors. Heights could mean a fatal fall. Darkness hid predators. Angry faces meant social rejection, which is a small group of early humans could mean exile, which meant death. These were the real dangers, and your brain learned to fear them so efficiently that the learning is now almost structural, baked in, part of the hardware. Here's the part nobody tells you. The same system that protected your ancestors from lions is the one creating your social anxiety. The same circuitry that made them sprint from rustling grass is the same circuitry that wakes you up at 3 in the morning over an email you forgot to send. Your brain cannot tell the difference between the threat and your physical body and a threat to your social standing. To your amygdala, an embarrassing moment in front of your coworkers and a predator in the grass produce the same chemical cascade, the same cholesterol spike, the same accelerated heart rate, and the same narrowing of attention. Because in the ancient world, they were the same kind of danger. Lose your social group, and you lose the protection, you lose your food as well, and you lose everything. Social threats were survival threats. This is why rejection hurts, not metaphorically, physically. Neuroscientist Naomi Eisenberger ran brain imaging study that showed that the same brain regions that process physical pain activate when a person is socially excluded. Your brain registers being left out of a group chat the same way it registers a broken bone. Not because you're being dramatic, because you are running ancient software in a modern world. And the same software does not have the update for this. And so you overthink the conversation you had yesterday. You replay the moment you said the wrong thing. You lie awake imagining how people perceived you. Your threat detection system, unable to find a lion, turns its vigilance inward, turns it onto your own life, onto your relationships, your status, your future, your image. It finds threats in your inbox, in the tone of a text message, in a colleague's expression that lingered half a second longer than it should have. This is not weakness. This is what kept your bloodline alive for 2 million years. But here's the counterintuitive truth that changes everything. Understanding your brain does this does not mean the fear go away, but it does change your relationship to it. Because once you know that the alarm is ancient, that it was calibrated for a world you do not live anymore, you can start to ask a different question. Not why I'm afraid, but what is the fear actually protecting me from? Is the threat real? Or is it a shadow that my ancient brain mistook for something worse? Lidox himself said that the goal is not to eliminate the fear response. That would be impossible. The amygdala does not take instructions from your prefrontal cortex, but it does respond to information over time. Repeated exposure to a non threatening stimulus gradually teaches the system to lower the alarm. The fear circuit can be updated, not erased, but edited, slowly, with patience and repetition. That is what therapy does. This is what exposure does. That is what breathing slowly in the moment of a panic does. It is not calming yourself down. It is sending a signal back through time, telling your ancient brain that this particular shadow is not a predator, that it can stand down. Your ancestor lived in a world where the shadow was sometimes real, where the fear saved them, where staying alert through the night was the difference between surviving until morning or not. They could not afford to relax, and so they did not. And so you do not. The vigilance that was their survival tool is your background noise. The threat detection that kept them alive is the anxiety that follows you into rooms where nothing is wrong, into nights where the house is quiet, into moments that should be peaceful but somehow does not feel that way. You're not broken. You are an ancient. And somewhere beneath the anxiety, beneath the overthinking, even beneath the 3 in the morning spiral, is a brain that still believes you are worth protecting. A brain that still thinks you are worth keeping alive. Tonight, when you find yourself awake and scanning for threats that are not there, remember that the system running is not a flaw. It is 2 million years of your family staying alive in a world that was genuinely trying to kill them. You are sitting in a perfectly safe room, and the most ancient part of you still refuses to believe it. And that, in the end, is exactly why you are here. If you like the video, you can easily subscribe. I do appreciate that. And yeah, looking forward and see you next time.